Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We'll be continuing our reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Canto 9, Celestial Dynasties. We'll be reading from the chapter number 8, Sagar's sons offend Lord Kapil. Aware that Ramchandra descended from Rohit, Shukadev was keen to list the different generations leading up to him. He briefly listed 6 generations of kings following Rohit, and when he got to the 7th, he said this was King Bahuk, robbed of his possessions by his enemies. Bahuk went to the forest with his wives. His wife Yadavi desired to enter his funeral pyre when he died. Realizing she was pregnant, sage Aurav forbade her. Parikshit said, "What became of the child?" Yadavi's co-wives, jealous of her, conspired to poison her food. However, she and her unborn child survived, and she gave birth to a boy with the poison. Therefore, Bahuk's son was named Sagar, one who is born with poison. Sagar later became the emperor. The place known as Ganga Sagar was excavated by his sons. When Sagar defeated his father's enemies, he did not kill them by the order of his spiritual master Aurav. Instead, he made some clans dress awkwardly and others he forced to adopt comical head and facial hairstyles. On Aurav's request, Sagar began a horse sacrifice to satisfy Vishnu, but Indra stole the horse. Did King Sagar manage to retrieve the animal? Yes, eventually Sagar had 2 wives, Sumati and Keshini. Sumati's sons were proud of their strength and ability. Thus, when ordered by their father to retrieve the horse, they rode out without hesitation. During their search, they dug into the earth extensively. Hear now what happened. Sumati's 60,000 sons reined in their horses. One said, "We have been tracking the stolen horses for several days but found nothing." Another said, "Be patient, brother. If we keep going towards the northeast, we will spot it." As they spoke, the brother who was scouting galloped back to the main party. "Brothers," he called out, "I have found the man who stole the horse." His brothers gathered around him. "How do you know it's him?" asked the eldest. "The horse is grazing near him. I saw them both by Kapil Muni's ashram." "Did he see you?" asked another brother. "No, he was sitting with his eyes closed." One brother cautioned, "Maybe he is a sage. We should approach him respectfully." Influenced by Indra, his brothers lost their good sense. Some said, "Sage or otherwise, it is of no consequence. He has sinned against our father by stealing his sacrificial horse." Others shouted, "Yes, he deserves nothing less than a death at our hands." They raised their weapons in the air and drove their horses forward. As the brothers advanced on the sage, the thunderous pounding of the horses' hooves broke his meditation. When he opened his eyes, fire emanated from the brothers' bodies, burning them to ashes. "Who was the sage?" asked Parikshit. "He was Lord Kapil," replied Shukadev. "Some say that Sagar's 60,000 sons were burned by flames shooting from his eyes. Is that true?" Said Parikshit, "No, that is not possible. The mode of ignorance manifests anger. Lord Kapil is in the mode of goodness, unpolluted by ignorance. Anyone who thinks he became angry is as arrogant as those who say the sky is dirty when overcast." "Even advanced sages are known to become angry," said Parikshit. "Why should it be any different with sage Kapil?" "Kapila is no ordinary sage," explained Shukadev. "He taught Sankhya philosophy, a strong boat by which we can cross the ocean of ignorance. Such a greatly learned person, fixed in transcendental knowledge, makes no distinction between friend and enemy. How did Sagar's son burn to ashes? By the heat which emanated from their bodies. How then did Sagar retrieve the sacrificial horse? Sagar's descendant from his other wife Keshini recovered the horse." "Please tell me about him." Sagar and Keshini had one son, Asmanjas. His son Amshuman always sought to serve his grandfather Sagar. In his previous life, Asamanjas had been a great mystic yogi. Unfortunately, he associated with materialists and was thus born to a royal family. However, despite his fall from the mystic practices due to his previous merit, he was a Jati Smara. In other words, he could remember his previous life. As a strategy to dissuade materialists from again associating with him, he behaved in many repugnant ways. For example, once he disturbed some boys sporting in the river Sarayu by throwing them into deep water. Hearing reports of his son's misdeed, Sagara lost affection for him and exiled him. Before Asamanjas left, he used his mystic powers to revive the drowned boys and return them to their parents. On witnessing this miracle, the parents were astounded. When Sagara heard, he greatly regretted sending Asamanjas away. When there was still no news from Sumati's 60,000 sons, after a long time, Sagara approached Asamanjas' son Amshuman and asked him to find the horse. Amshuman set off alone, tracking his uncles until he found the horse near a large pile of ashes. Sitting beside the horse, Amshuman saw a sage he recognized as Kapila. Dismounting his horse, he approached the sage with great reverence and said, "My lord, even Brahma cannot understand your position, which is far beyond himself, so what to speak of others like us? We are completely in ignorance, so we cannot properly know who you are in transcendence." Kapil opened his eyes and smiled at the young prince kneeling respectfully. "My lord," continued Amshuman, you are the supersoul in the hearts of all beings, those influenced by the modes of nature can only see the actions of those modes, whereas advanced transcendentalists like the four Kumar brothers can see you. My dear lord, although you create everything in the material world, you are untouched by the material energy. You assume a form resembling ours to instruct us in transcendental knowledge. However, your form and body are transcendental without any material contamination. Under the influence of lust, greed, envy, and illusion, conditioned souls are attached to family enjoyment, which keeps us perpetually bound in the cycles of birth and death. I was also in the shackles of material existence, but now that I have seen you, I am freed of lust. Shukadev continued. Kapil was delighted by Amshuman's prayers and instructed him in transcendental knowledge. He then permitted him to return the horse to King Sagara. He also told him that only way his uncles could be delivered from their offense was by Ganges water. Amshuman respectfully circled Kapil and bowed before him. He then returned the sacrificial horse to Sagara, who completed the remaining ritualistic ceremonies. His duties completed, Sagara anointed Amshuman as the next king, and in obedience to sage Aurava's instructions, retired to the forest where he attained spiritual perfection. So next time we'll continue with the reading from chapter 9, The Ganges Comes to the Earth. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.